Ela pode começar aqui, não é? Carrega. Ó. Já está.
Para que serve o conhecimento? Para que serve a experiência? Para conhecer o mundo que nos rodeia, numa exploração da natureza, numa recolha de dados, de materiais, de experiências, de vivências, no ato de mapear e cartografar território, no quantificar dos recursos naturais, ao criar um espólio, ao manter uma memória e usá-la para ensinar, comunicar, motivar. Para que serve a investigação? Uma procura sem fim, não só para encontrar respostas, mas para resolver problemas, canalizar esforços para criar novos paradigmas, soluções atualizadas, mais eficazes, mais eficientes. Para atestar a fiabilidade técnica e a certificação de equipamentos. Para perceber as interações e impactos ambientais, alertar para situações potencialmente críticas e consolidar o saber. Para que serve a demonstração, a observação dos resultados, a replicação de efeitos e técnicas? Para potenciar o desenvolvimento tecnológico, passar da teoria à prática e transferir o conhecimento adquirido para a indústria, para o mercado, para a sociedade. Na criação de novos produtos, no aperfeiçoamento e amadurecimento de tecnologias de vanguarda. Para que serve o conhecimento? Para atestar a confiança num instituto com responsabilidade e importância estratégica para o país. A um progresso baseado na compreensão da evolução da Terra e de todos os fenómenos que a caracterizam, para traçar o rumo a um futuro mais consciente. Laboratório Nacional de Energia e Geologia. Descubra mais em www.leneg.pt.
Então, muito boa tarde a todos. Bem-vindos ao Pavilhão de Portugal. So, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our Portuguese pavilion. It's my pleasure to be here and to discuss the energy transition in Portugal with my panel colleagues. I would like to start by highlighting some results already taking place in this conference of partners. The European Commission and together with 118 countries committed to triple the investment on renewable energy for electricity till 2030. 50 oil companies committed to reduce methane emissions by 2030 by 2, and the energy efficiency received the commitment from the European Commission and several countries to duplicate again. So this is the place where we are, but we also recently in this COP we presentiated a new synthesis report on the first global stocktake of climate action, that paints a stark picture of the battle against climate change, but also offers a technological roadmap towards a more sustainable future and emphasizes the critical role of technology in preparing the next NCD report. And Al Gore said that we are here at this COP in particular because this is the year of global stock take. I think it's the first time we talked about this. And he was referring to the process to watch countries progress toward the meeting of the Paris Agreement goals. Climate Trace is really the only independent, comprehensive source of accurate data on which a stock take can be made. And LENEG, with this work, is working to support this global stock-taking process, and I will show you some of our projects that will contribute, and then we can discuss with our panelists. So, first, let me compliment our Secretary of State that really she was here, but now I cannot see. But I would like to start to say that after COP26, we saw that science and technology have a very important role in the energy policies, and that policies should be decided based on science evidence. Another important thing, and that was worked, and Adel El Kamal maybe will talk about this, but we discussed a lot among research institutions and the European Energy Research Alliance. That is the biggest alliance on research in Europe, and we analyzed the circle of producing knowledge where countries and public financial resource support research. And we missed that in the end, the support on research should be returned on revenues in a smaller circle, changing the knowledge into innovation. And that's something we are working and very committed. So these are some results from Portugal, and here you can see the Atlas for hydrogen in Portugal, which is available free in our web portal. Another result of our projects is the less environmental sensibility areas. You can see several scenarios were defined with increasing the restrictions, and we have a lot of area where investment on renewable energy projects can be placed without big impacts on environment. Then another result was the project, the Atlas, for the offshore resources that gave place to help government to identify those orange areas where our 10 gigawatts objective of wind offshore can take place. Another project is about helping industry to include circularity in their projects. And also another project that evaluates the needs for materials, critical and strategic materials, to accomplish the objectives of the energy transition in Portugal. This is the potential for the mapping of the potential for renewables in Portugal, all renewables. And again, a work that was done recently to the International Energy Agency on our recent project on how to industrialize, how to decarbonize industry. So that's my introduction. And introduce my my panel colleagues. So so we are here. At my left side, I have Adel El Gamal. He is the Secretary General of the European Energy Research Alliance. He is a big expert and a senior EU affairs professional in the fields of low carbon technologies, clean energy transition, and climate change. Also a professor at Free University of Brussels in the fields of geopolitics of energy and energy policy. I will not list in detail all his capacities, but he's here on account of his role as Secretary General of the European Energy Research Alliance. Again, we have George Cristino. Thank you for being here. He's an engineer and has a master in international relations, postgraduate in environment law, specialized in development cooperation, and now PhD student at Public Policy for Climate Action. Currently, he is a board member of the Portuguese State Business Company for Environmental Geology and Mining. He's also, I will not list everything, but he's an expert on sustainability issues and wrote a book on that, Sustainability for Cities. Bruno Souza, he's the Vice Director for the Director General of Energy and Geology. He's a lawyer. He was former representative of Portugal in the permanent representation for the European Commission. He was assistant of former Secretary of State for Energy, and now he has this position being responsible for the energy sector. It's very, very new, his position, but that's what I would like to tell about him. Nelson Lage has a degree in policy science and international relations and a master in management and leadership development from Catholic Lisbon School of Business and Economics. He has served as advisor of several governments. He was advisor of the Secretary of State for Energy and advisor as well as the Deputy Chief Cabinet of the Deputy Minister and Secretary of State for Energy. Not recently, so it's now almost 6 years, he was appointed as president of our National Energy Agency. Thank you, Nelson, for being here. So, I would like to start with making you some questions, and I would put to each of you my questions. So, Adele, you have participated in an important piece of regulation, piece of information, which is white paper for clean energy from the Energy Research Alliance, which I took a copy to my presentation. Could you elaborate a little bit on how research can help public policies and accelerate the energy transition?
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa, for this question. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will try to be short because there's much to say, of course, on the subject. But I would say, yes, we did a white paper to advise the policy-making process in Europe, and which is called White Paper on the Clean Energy Transition. And basically, I will maybe summarize 3 points. We said the clean energy transition, first of all, is a societal transition. Secondly, it needs to be addressed holistically. And thirdly, it's a systemic approach that we need to adopt. I will take one by one these 3 topics. The first one, societal, is, in my view, absolutely essential and also the European Energy Research Alliance, where Teresa is, of which Teresa is Vice President, I'm Secretary General. We are really coordinating research, and most of this research is going on to developing or improving technologies, renewable low-carbon technologies. So this is the core of our business, but nevertheless, we are absolutely affirmative on the fact that the transition is not only a technology transition, it's a societal transition, it's a whole society which needs transition, and technology is only an absolutely essential but non-sufficient element of this transition. And in that respect, it means that we need to research also a number of areas which are not related to technology, which are related to business models, which are related to market models, which are related to patterns, behavioral patterns, and then it, of course, ends into values and cultural, cultural values of the society. And so this is the change we're all about, and technology is one driver of this global perspective. That's one point. The second point was about holistic, and there I want just to point out that we often concentrate on decarbonization of power, for instance. Often when we speak about renewable, we think about wind and solar, and this is about decarbonization of power. And we often forget that power is only 24% of the final energy demand in Europe, meaning that 75% of the energy demand is still burning mostly, well, almost exclusively fossil fuels for industry, for heating, for mobility purposes. So we need to look at where the emissions are originated and adopt a holistic perspective to design strategies which address the whole of the emissions across the sectors. This brings to the third point, which is cross-sectoral and systemic. The only way to address the transition is not by looking at, from bottom-up perspective, what is the potential of each technologies, but rather to design decarbonization strategies across the different sectors, and then at this moment only to look at what are the best technological options to implement these strategies. And this is the only way where you can really leverage all the decarbonization opportunities that you have from cross-sectoral activities. And this is fundamental in a process where we know that electrification will move a lot of the energy consumption from one sector to another. And this is, by the way, why it's so important to develop hydrogen, because hydrogen is an energy carrier which will enable this coupling between the different energy sectors. I will finish here for the sake of the timing, but we can come back to it later.
Thank you, Adele. Let me now just compliment our Secretary of State, because I was not seeing you before, so it's a pleasure that you are here. And I pass now the question to Jorge Cristino. George, we have a big connection between the energy transition and the critical raw materials, but again, the critical raw materials need to be explored and used according the rules of sustainability, because they are scarce and they are not enough for the energy transition. Could you tell us your view on what we should, how should we use our materials, critical and strategic raw materials?
Okay, thank you, Teresa. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks also for the invitation to be here this afternoon, and of course also to say good afternoon to Secretary of State to be here in this panel. I should say that we can compile, or if I can do a prescription in 4 words. First of all, you already said in your presentation, is knowledge. Knowledge is very important, science and research, to know better our resources in terms of raw materials, but also to see the best way to use it in sustainable way. Not only in terms of primary raw materials, but also the secondary raw materials, that it is very important. And this take us for the second word or second sentence is circular economy. That is very important. It's also in the Critical Raw Materials Act. So we should know better how to improve the way to make the cradle-to-cradle products, not only cradle-to-grave, but in the sense that we should not see the limit in the materials that you use, to see also the volume of resources that we have in our territory, to know better the territory, and also to know better the materials, the minerals that we use, and the capacity that we have to use that materials in terms of energy transition. The third one is sustainability. It's very important. Not only sustainability in terms of economic sustainability for the companies or for the use of raw materials to make the decarbonization, but the sustainability with communities, sustainability in terms of governance, that is also very important. And also to see here the Vice Mayor of Porto, the multi-level governance, that is very important since the local level until international level. This is very important in terms of the approach to use raw materials since the beginning, the extraction in rural areas until our cities and industrial areas. And also the social sustainability that is very important in respect with nature, with respect with traditions, in respect with the territory identities. The fourth one is the balanced mix in terms of energetic, but also in terms of decarbonization, as I said, in terms of climate stability. In this sense, we take more or less 10 years to have an industrial project in terms of mining and extraction to exploration project. And in this process, we should have also a better license, a social contract, not only with the communities, but also with the government. So it's very important to the companies to know better and to have more confidence in terms of worldwide for these exploration projects in the future, because we only can do this transition having in perspective the way that we have sustainable use of raw materials.
Thank you, George. So, Bruno, I've presented some results from some projects that we developed at RENEC, some to the Secretary of State, some others from financing from European projects, but most of them are associated with delivering to information, the most information we can compile for decisions. We know that we have a problem of licensing and permitting. What can the Directorate General, and you in particular, what are your views? How could we accelerate this process and be able to reach the goals within the years we have available to reach them?
Thank you so much, Teresa, and good afternoon to everyone. A special compliment to our Secretary of State, and a big thank you to you, Teresa, for inviting me to this panel. To talk about energy transition, I have to talk about the homework that the Portuguese government did in the past decades, because it is very important, and we reach a point that it's very proud for me as a Portuguese, because it was very difficult decisions at that time, especially investing in renewables when everyone thought that it was a bad idea. And now we are more than half of the way to our carbon neutrality. Then other decision that was difficult and caused some discussion was to close our coal power plants. And we did it 8 or 7 years before the initial plan. And this is huge to, to everyone to understand. As a Portuguese, it is really proud that we don't have any coal in our system, and we have now 63% of electricity coming from renewables. Then I have also to talk about the last 2 years. The last 2 years we had the very European decisions. We had the European Green Deal, we had the Fit for 55, we had a war, we have a war in Ukraine, and we had a lot of emergency measures. And we have to learn with these lessons. We have to phase out fossil fuels, and we have to accelerate the integration of renewables. Currently, we are updating our NECP, our National Energy and Climate Plan, and after 2 years of the last revision, of the last update, we are increasing our ambition. And we are increasing to reach 85% of renewables already in 2026. And another step that we will take to reach this number, it is to invest in offshore wind. We invested a lot on onshore wind. Now we are moving to the sea, and we concluded very recently our first stage of our tender that we will expect to be very soon. We have 50 proposals to analyze and to start with the dialogue. And we will also invest a lot in solar, 3 times a bigger number than we have. So Portugal, it is a very good student, and it became a very good teacher also at the European level, because we are doing things right. And we started this work, like I said, decades ago, and it was not easy at that time. Now, turning to your question, Teresa, renewables have 2 or 3 big problems: public acceptance, permitting and the speeding of permitting, and infrastructures. The public acceptance, it's also very difficult in Portugal. It's not different from other countries, and we are facing that also. And it is not easy, but we have to communicate with the locals. We have to convince them that it's very good to invest in renewables and them to profit from these benefits. And also on permitting, we are also a good example at the European level. Some other countries takes more time in permitting, but we know that we have also this problem. And we are taking measures. Me and the new board will take also this challenge, but we already are getting some good results. But the objective is to improve and improve. And the other is grid infrastructure, and you can combine both of the other problems with this one, because it is the same for public acceptance of grid infrastructure, it is the same for permitting, but in the last 3 weeks ago we had a plan at the European level. The Commission presented a green infrastructure plan, and we expect also to benefit with it, especially our region, because we are almost an island, and internally and to export also it will be important to move somehow.
Thank you, Bruno. And I hope the scientific results can help also those decisions. And we know that even infrastructure and public perception is very, very important to tackle. And I must share with you something that in 1995 I made my PhD on integration of renewables in the electric system, and nobody believed on it. Why are you doing this So it's difficult, but we were in Portugal a pioneer country regarding these decisions. So Nelson, you are in the end of the value chain, so literally, but also you are more close to the consumers and very much responsible for the energy efficiency that is a part of the equation. How can you share with us what ADEN is doing about the topic of reducing energy, although guaranteeing the conditions so that the users, the consumers, can have the same social level of life?
Okay, thank you, Teresa. First of all, thank you for allowing us to be the four institutions that deals with energy and related energy issues. Of course, that we have other person here, but I think it's important on this Energy Day to have all the institutions here discussing such important topics as renewable energy and moving to action. I think Portugal is already in action. Can say that about other countries, at least Portugal is already in action. We saw the numbers published today is 87% of renewables, a reduction of gas on the demand. So I think we have really good values that can say that we are already on action. Concerning ADEN and before ADEN, just to highlight three main ideas that we cannot do this alone. I think there's a message that we listen and we have listened during all this week that we cannot do this alone. I think the need and the commitment is transversal to all the society at several levels, at global, at national, regional, and local levels. So we cannot do it alone. Okay, we need to put some energy and commitment on all of this because there's a need of a huge transformation on behaviors. Okay, and we cannot. It's not a task for one entity, one company. Or one association, it's a task for everyone. So this first idea that we need commitment and a transversal commitment to all the society. The second idea is that it's definitely time to move faster, and we need to move faster in this COP. We need that this COP really represents the action that we all need. I think today there was already some interesting decisions concerning, for example, hydrogen, concerning the decarbonization of the oil and gas sector. So I think this COP might be, we might have some interesting conclusion from this COP. So we really need to move to action. And third idea is that we need to empower communities. Okay, already being mentioned here, we need to empower the communities at several levels, at global, national, regional, and local. And something that I heard yesterday, it's that energy isn't only for the energy industry, it's for all of us. So democratized energy is very, very, very important, and we can do it easily, thank you, through energy communities, okay? So that's a really interesting topic. It's energy communities that can help us democratize energy. About ADEN and beside, of course, other areas, we have several areas where we work, but yes, one of I don't say that it's the most important, but it's a very relevant one. It's energy literacy and information, capacity building. So that's really a really important area where we work. We have national campaigns at national level, online, on the medias. We also have several initiatives. We have a dialogue initiative that goes all over the country, discussing energy with associations, with the locals, with companies, with all the players at regional level, and we discuss several topics that are relevant on the energy sector. So we going all over the country and discuss with everyone about energy. So that's really important because we go and we just don't wait that they come to us. So another initiative, it's Energy Route. Energy Route, it's a literacy energy that goes also all over the country, and then give information capacity building on technicals from municipalities, on companies, on the civil society, and also for students. So we go to schools, we go to municipalities, and we give training on specific issues on energy. So that's really relevant initiative that help us with this mission of energy literacy and information. We also have another interesting initiative, Energy Observatory, that produce, together with JEG and other entities, produce energy data. So it's very important to give that data to the communication, to the press, to the media, because they are a powerful tool to help us on this task of communicating. So if they have the right data, if we give them the information, then can help us communicate what we do. Okay, so that's this energy observatory. It's very important and help us with that. And I'm finishing. Another thing, energy communities. We help along with JEG the development of energy communities. We help the municipalities on thinking on projects. So that's really relevant also. And finally, we have a strong communication, as I told, and a good relation with the press because we believe that they are our allies. So, in finishing, the word it is enough. I think no, we can and we should and we will do much more, and not alone. Okay, together with JEG, together with EDM, together with PNEG, together with APREN, and with all the associations of the sector, because it's not a task for one entity; it's a task for all. Thank you very much, Teresa.
Thank you, Nelson. So collaboration is key, for sure. And when I do like this, is to put your microphone near the mouth. Thank you. So Adele, coming to you again. We have very impressive results within our European alliance. And my question now is, could you share with us some results that are contributing strongly for the energy transition and for the decarbonization from our joint programs?
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Again, yes, there's certainly a lot to be said. I think I will, well, maybe a couple of points. First of all, we need to frame what we have been doing in the context of the EU policy making, and there have been a lot of new policy packages over the last year. We know about Repower EU Green Deal, the Repower EU, the Fit for 55. I will maybe touch upon two ones, the Net Zero Industrial Act and the Critical Raw Materials Act, because I think that these two are of particular significance from a geopolitical perspective. If we consider that Europe is not anymore in the situation where it was 10 or 15 years ago, we are finding ourselves a little bit ill-equipped in the new world which is unfolding today, in the sense that we have based ourselves in the idea that we would be in a world of open trade, of liberal democracy spreading all around, and it's exactly the contrary happening. And so we are facing a number of challenges. These challenges are first that we need more than ever to reaffirm and to protect our competitiveness on the strategic technologies, and in particular relating to the clean energy transition, we're talking about the whole range of low carbon technologies. So the Net Zero Industry Act is very much going to that direction. But it also means that if you look at I would say, the second level meaning of the Net Zero Industry Act is that we are entering into a moment where we are recombining basically policy, research policies with industrial policy, with trade policies. So this was not at all the case before. For instance, that's the reason why we lost the whole PV industry, because we developed basically the PV technology, and because we were unable to protect our industry, this industry disappeared completely to China. And by the way, today, very few people know that 95% of the PV cells in the world are produced in China, which means that we have a critical dependency not only on critical raw materials, but also on components, such as this one. So we are entering into a new world where it's very important. We are entering a new wave of protectionism. Let's face reality. This is what is happening at the moment. And Europe certainly needs to be conscious of that. And I like to quote Sigmar Gabriel, who was a German politician from the SPD party, saying, at the moment, we're still the last herbivore in a geopolitical world of carnivores. And this is exactly what is the situation and what we need to fight against. The second element I wanted to take is the Critical Raw Materials Act, because we don't have enough, I think, we don't really realize enough to what extent our whole transition and our whole plan to get to net zero and to build a new decarbonized society is relying fundamentally on our ability to deploy these low carbon technologies. And all of these low carbon technologies, almost without exceptions, are relying heavily on critical raw materials. Now, if you look at what the IEA says in terms of what will be the expected increase in demand from these critical raw materials, it's very clear that these will be short in the market, and so there will be a competition to get these materials. And the second element that we need to understand is that not only on the extraction side, but mostly on the processing side, so transforming the ores into the materials which are used by the industry, China has again a very, very dominant position. This is the case for most of them. If I take rare earths, for instance, which is fundamental for electric vehicles and wind turbines, EU purchases 98% of its rare earths from China. So we need really to think about how we design our transition, how we design our new technologies, taking into consideration this new reality that is around us. Then I will finish maybe to answer directly to your question, what are we doing in our alliance? We are basically focusing now on research which will enable us to alleviate these dependencies to the outside world. And this, for instance, will pass on a lot of research on material science, in a way to be more material efficient in the different technologies, to have more recyclability, to find substitution material, for instance, and in a way to be less dependent from our critical material import. If I take another part of the spectrum, and I said in my first intervention that we were looking both to technology and non-technology aspect, I will mention a report that we just released a month ago, which is downloadable on our website, which is about demand reduction. And it's very strange to see that still now, if we talk about decarbonization, everybody is focusing on decarbonizing the supply side. So we all look at how can we produce more energy with less carbon emissions. But it's obvious that we are not at all on the right track and that we're not succeeding to decarbonize sufficiently quickly the supply side, meaning that we need also to think about the demand side. And we believe that one very important strategy to succeed in our transition is to reduce the energy demand. I don't say that we need to go into degrowth mode, but we need to think how we decrease the energy demand. And we develop in this report quite some substantial research on the notion of energy sufficiency, which is really understanding, making the difference between what is really the energy you consume and what is the energy service you need. And in fact, when you look at that, you see that you can, in fact, enjoy, in many cases, a similar energy service with a much less energy demand, which is, of course, fundamental because this will drive down the carbon emissions, so speed up the decarbonization process, but it will also drive down the cost of the transition and will similarly decrease our dependencies on all the external links that I've mentioned. So we'll leave it here from now and pass it on for the next speaker.
Thank you, Adele. And really, we must join in the line efforts to reach the objectives of the energy transition, and this is one of those important. So passing to George, and I see a very beautiful picture about Sustainable Development Goals. So I think, my question is, you talked about the critical raw materials, what is needed what we need to do regarding extraction, transformation, but also social awareness. And I would ask you, how can we contribute to measure the whole value chain by using sustainable development goals, but to measure and to monitorize and to guarantee that we are in the right direction?
So now you open our secret that the questions was completely prepared for the session. But anyway, it's good because we have...
That's not the issue, because if you notice, I I am without network. I do not have questions with me. I forgot them there.
Yes, never mind, but you are really good and you are doing very well. And let me say, following that Adele was saying about this issue that we have resources in different sides of the world, in different regions of the world. And let me split this relationship between sustainable development goals with critical raw materials that are completely related. So the first one is the partnership that is very important. We don't choose where resources are. They are where they are in terms of geologic and geologist approach. So there are critical materials that they are not critical because of their importance only, but also they are critical because of their availability for this transition, because they are rare. So they are not available in all countries in the same volumes or the same minerals. So we have to be together, as also Nelson said, not only at national level, but at international level. So the first thing that we have to think in our mind in terms of worldwide is the 5 P's of Sustainable Development Goals. And there are 2 that are in the top, is peace and partnership. This is very important. In this transition, this transition is only fair if we have this, at least these 2 P's, this partnership and peace, because we need the elements, we need the minerals, we need the resources that are in different regions in the world. So in this sense, the multidisciplinary approach and the holistic vision is necessary with this interconnection between critical raw materials and sustainable development goals. The second one, and this is related with several sustainable development goals, 7, for example, for renewable energy. Other, for example, is digitalization, for example, that is necessary. The second one is also, Adele was talking about, is decoupling and degrowth. Decoupling because it's necessary to split or decrease the impact between this exploration of critical raw materials and the environmental impact. We are in different levels in the world in terms of richness, in terms of quality of living, and the third countries and the developing countries have the same right to live the same quality of living that in the North Global. The South Global have the same rights. So in this sense, I think that is very important to make this decoupling process to be as an inspiration for the progress in the countries that need also to make this transition for phasing out the fossil fuels. The sustainable development and the degrowth, it's interconnected. It seems that is very dichotomy between saying sustainable development and degrowth, but in real fact they are connected because we need to have this scope not in 3 pillars but in 5 pillars. Besides the environmental, social and governance that I said also, we also have to add 2 more pillars. Time, because we don't have time for that, so we have to make this faster and better. And the second one is people. It's the happiness of people. It's also the objective in the aim in terms of development human index that United Nations also have in indicators to measure this quality of living. The third and last one is the this relation between raw materials and sustainable development goals is equality and fair transition. It's very important to make this connection because most of the sustainable development goals that we have to tackle is related with necessary to produce food, to have agriculture, and a lot of other activities, health and water quality and so on. And this is very important because we only have this equality and this fair transition using raw materials to make the progress in the most part of the world. So in conclusion, I think that 5 P's, planet, people, partnerships, peace and prosperity is very related with the critical raw materials to this climate transition, for this energy transition. Not only because we have to do it faster, as I said, but to do it better, because if we are go faster but in the wrong direction, it's not good. So we have to go faster and better in the right direction.
So thank you, George. Bruno, now to go faster and better, and taking into account that we also have energy communities that can sometimes solve the problem of the infrastructure. This is one piece. The other piece is to have tools to accelerate the projects in the right way. What do you think that will be the next steps that the Director General should take or will take or already has the aim to achieve to concretize these goals?
Thanks, Teresa. I promise to be very brief. I want to give some time to Nelson also.
Yes, we are reaching an end.
So, to answer your question, Teresa, in the law decision process, I believe in 4 things. The first one is innovation. The second one, better communication. The third one, security. And the fourth one, digitalization. Innovation, because, and I said before, in this crisis, in the last 2 years, the need to be very innovative to accelerate renewables, to accelerate permitting, to overcome some environmental steps, and we had to be very innovative in this sense. And Portugal already had this legislation at the national level. So the Commission felt and was inspired by some national laws that. Then better communication because we need to talk, we need to explain to project promoters, to the communities, and to prepare them for the projects, for the laws, and this will become easier and easier with time if people are aware of the projects and of the impacts of some things. Then the third one was digitalization. Digitalization because I believe that the public authorities, and we are a few here, need to be integrated, need to be linked, and also with the private companies, because with this link we will overcome some steps and it will be good for everyone, and the projects will develop in time and with more speed. And the fourth one was to give security to investors, because they don't need that every law is changing every year or every 2 years, because they need to know and to be safe to invest in some country. And for that, we need to take the best decisions in the process and to give this security to investors. And that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nelson, that you have there the vice mayor of Porto, so and you have to reach municipalities. So the energy agency needs to reach municipalities and to disseminate and to the good practices and to try to incentivize the right way to do projects. What is the National Energy Agency doing for that?
Okay, first of all, let me thank Jeg. As always, we have excellent relation. Jeg gives me time, I will give time to Jeg, so it's good to have a good relation with our partners. Now, just to say and to highlight again that municipalities, associations, and the private sector are yes, I know. Just to highlight that it's very important to highlight this, that despite of some movements says that companies are not doing nothing, they are, at least in Portugal, are doing amazing things that are contributing a lot to this transformation, to this transition. So just to highlight this, and to highlight, of course, the collaboration that exists between the private and the public sector, okay? At least in Portugal, we have to say that we are doing an excellent job on that field. About ADEN and the relation with municipalities, I may say that we can talk about four different approaches. We, of course, as I said, we are working along with JEG on the development of energy communities. So we work closely with municipalities on thinking on ideas for their projects, on helping them on their projects. Of course, then there's a job also for JEG and for the companies that work on that sector. So we work closely with them, helping implementing energy community. That it's extremely important to democratize the energy sector. We also, since September, assume a new role as national coordinators of the Conference of Mayors. So it's very important that now Portugal has an entity that is in charge of helping the monitoring, the implementation of the Conference of Mayors and the targets on climate. And also important that we can do it together with other initiatives. Okay, so it's now we have an entity that are responsible for that, to harmonize all the initiatives that we have on climate action and work directly with them. So Conference of Mayors, it's also a new way of working with municipalities. And then we have, of course, the recovery plan and all the initiatives that was launched now with the energy poverty strategy that we work closely with JEG. We have the energy poverty observatory that will, of course, we'll work closely with municipalities. We'll have a one-stop shop also to work at regional level with municipalities. So that's another approach for this work with municipalities. And last, we have the initiative that I talked before on the energy route that goes directly to the municipalities, to each municipality of the country, and train and give information to the specific target. So I would say these four approaches, okay? The first one, helping energy communities. The second one, recovery plan in all the initiatives that we have with the environmental fund and the energy power strategy. These energy literacy initiative and also the Conference of Mayors since September.
Thank you, Nelson. I think George has the last comments.
I take all the time always. So only to underline two things that were said, also from Bruno and Nelson. One of these is communication, and besides that we already said, only to inform that in Portugal, in last week, we create an informal platform that we call Mineral, where every association are together to communicate all this time of critical raw materials importance. Also for the communities, but also for all social. The other part that I would like to underline is this importance, because this partnership between public and private, that is very important. And nowadays, without any problem to refer the elephant in the room, because in the political context that we have also in Portugal, this is very important to say that Portugal, as Bruno already said, we are not only pioneer, but also we are a leadership in renewable energy. Also in terms of independence, of growing in this renewable energy, and we had, like we said this morning, in this month, more than 6 days with completely, totally supplied with renewable energy. And also, as Jeronim said this morning, as General Director, that we are the fourth country that export copper, the first one that we export zinc, that are strategic raw materials that are also in critical raw materials, and this is very important. And we have availability for the most biggest lithium deposit, and this is important for the future.
Thank you, George. And in fact, we will be the first country exploring lithium in Europe. And for that, we are creating a center for the valorization of lithium. Just wrapping up this, this session, but very briefly, we talked about the need to communicate better, and to communicate for people, to collaborate, and to collaborate within institutions and the industry, within research institutions, and giving the right results that the industry needs. We talk about alignment, and
it's my time to say that you have to put the mic more.
So, okay, we have to collaborate better. Thank you. So collaborate between institutions to align the results of research with the needs of industry. This is key to be able to innovate. And like Einstein said, a system that gives that doesn't change, gives always the same results. So innovation is key. So we have to be able to use our huge amount of data for digitalization, and so that this digitalization will be able to accelerate the measures that are needed for the energy transition. And last but not least, my preferred hint, that is monitorize, make the process accountable, so that we know the way we are driving, we can correct, and we can reach our goals. So thank you very much to you all for this presence in this panel, and I would like to give a big round of applause.
Para que serve o conhecimento? Para que serve a experiência? Para conhecer o mundo que nos rodeia, numa exploração da natureza, numa recolha de dados, de materiais, de experiências, de vivências. No ato de mapear e cartografar território. No quantificar dos recursos naturais. Ao criar um espólio, ao manter uma memória e usá-la para ensinar, comunicar, motivar. Para que serve a investigação? Uma procura sem fim, não só para encontrar respostas, mas para resolver problemas, canalizar esforços para criar novos paradigmas, soluções atualizadas, mais eficazes, mais eficientes. Para atestar a fiabilidade técnica e a certificação de equipamentos. Para perceber as interações e impactos ambientais, alertar para situações potencialmente críticas e consolidar o saber. Para que serve a demonstração, a observação dos resultados, a replicação de efeitos e técnicas. Para potenciar o desenvolvimento tecnológico, passar da teoria à prática e transferir o conhecimento adquirido para a indústria, para o mercado, para a sociedade. na criação de novos produtos, no aperfeiçoamento e amadurecimento de tecnologias de vanguarda. Para que serve o conhecimento? Para atestar a confiança num instituto com responsabilidade e importância estratégica para o país. A um progresso baseado na compreensão da evolução da Terra e de todos os fenómenos que a caracterizam, para traçar o rumo a um futuro mais consciente. Laboratório Nacional de Energia e Geologia. Descubra mais em www.leneg.pt.